Mahila, I'm trying Java, and it's actually pretty good. Let me see if you can see this here. Java, you see that on there? This is Java Fusion, and it's actually pretty good. First time I've had this one. Nobody wants it, but I'm trying it. So they were out of everything else. I usually get the blue or the Irish, and the blue is the sky blue, and then I get the sweet berry too. But yeah, just the Dutches. I have had some backwoods when I put Absol in my liked videos. That was from Mission Viejo time, listening to Absol. But yeah, the backwoods I couldn't really smoke. They were a little bit too stiff. They're meant to be like unrolled and all that, but I'm just smoking them, this way. So, yeah, I want to talk about Usher and the dances. Now I don't know how to dance. And when I do, it's pretty funny, really. I used to picture myself like on an island, like listening to LVL, ASAP, and I would picture like everybody like working out, and then like these ships were coming to the island, and then like they all went underwater and like took all the ships out and stuff. And but like it was like everyone was bigger, and then like you see them like train, and then like they lose a bunch of weight. And it's just a vision that I had for a long time, recurring. It was pretty much one of my first visions. And like and then I would kind of like dance to that type of vibe, but like I don't know how to dance at all. Like I have no rhythm at all. Like even with marching, at WP, like I had trouble staying in the rhythm. So yeah, it's nothing like, it's nothing that I can help, really. It's just kind of how I am. Like I'm just kind of I'm really a 52 in that sense, and like I went to the chiropractor in high school and stuff, and they couldn't figure out what my ribs were doing, from the brace that I wore in middle school, for pectus carinatum and stuff. And like that kind of affected my hips too. Like it affected my hips to where they were really like stiff, and like it affected my walking. Like I walked kind of heavy, or like it kind of like Andy Garcia in Oceans, and that's kind of how my brother would walk too. And then we both kind of like liked that mafia stuff, so it just kind of fit. But it was like I don't know, it was kind of weird though how out of sorts I was. And then I got to SCAD, and then they really worked me out. Todd did, and I was getting worked out in the pool too, really heavily, really fine-tuning everything. It was really remarkable how much of like a pro Olympic team they acted like, and that they really could perform in practice like that. The whole team was like that. I mean, I can't remember anyone who was slow on that team. I mean, in practice, like everybody went hard, you know. And yeah, you had some people that might have been a little bit lazier, but like when you were at practice, like you had to go hard. Like that's just how it was. So, um, yeah, and then but dancing, I don't know anything about it. Um, you know, and for somebody that took ballet and stuff like that, like Ben V, I really do respect that because like it takes a lot to to know how to do all that with your feet and everything. I mean, my feet were so torn up after WP, it wasn't even funny, you know. It was really bad. Like, it took years to, you know, scraping off like dead skin in between my toes and everything. Like, it was a lot. And the chlorine helped it so much. And, that's why when I got in the pool at WP, it was like when I got out, I felt so refreshed and like different. It was like I forgot where I was, you know. It was like I was in a different world. And then it's like return to order, and it's like, how do you do this, you know? Because after that, after the water WP, you would feel just like so good afterwards that it's like you don't want to return to all that. And some guys, they really didn't um, that much. Like Brody, he'd be on the computer, you know, but he'd always make it to formation and everything. Like he could really balance it well, and like I couldn't really. Um, but like you know. Um, I knew I was leaving because I knew something wasn't right, you know. When we were watching that uh, the drone footage, I knew then like no, I can't really be here, you know. Like something I know like yeah, it was supposed to be hype, you know, and everyone was. But like to me it was like I something just doesn't feel right about this, you know. And of course, I knew going into it. I knew going into it, like, um, that's what it was. But then actually experiencing it, you know, is different. Um, but yeah, I don't, you know, I took some dancers out, you know, to drive in and stuff like that, and I dated. That was my first girlfriend was a dancer, and you know, I really do have a lot of respect for that that stuff, and you know the whole my Chicago family is all they're all dancers, you know, all the girls, and it was a lot of drama with that too, you know. Um, so and it was drama in Owensboro too with that. Um, but Yeah, it's another world, man. It really is because it's up to the audience, you know, and like swimming's not really like that. It is a little bit with technique and stuff, but not like dancing, you know. Um, but yeah, and then like musical theater is a little bit different. but some of them are cool too, you know. But I just did not like the vibe of it in high school. That's why I never did it. It just felt like you know, it just felt weird, something about it. Um, but but yeah, my cousin Joe, you know, he um he was around that stuff his whole life, you know, and he was into movies. He studied film in college and stuff, and editing, and stuff like that. And like, it's weird how, like, it's weird to think if he was around that his whole life, how did that really affect him, you know? And he writes books and stuff now, but it's kind of like, and he's a really cool guy. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I think that really affected him, you know, being around all that dance. And not that anything's wrong, nothing's wrong with him. I'm just saying, like, I think deep down, I think something, you know, really affected him from all that dance, you know. Just having to, like, listen to it all, and then, like, you're not a part of it, you know, like, I don't know, it's just that, and he had no support really, because his whole family was into it, and they still are, you know. I mean, he's a grown man, and they're still into it, and yeah, that's their life, that's their career and everything. But it's like, I just, you know, it's almost, and I'm saying this, and it almost sounds a little bit silly, you know, but I think that really affected him, you know. I think it really affected him. And, um, you know, my cousin Ryan is a little bit different. He played like soccer, and he did like cross country and stuff, and you know, and then my cousin Matt like played tennis, and they were all around it too, and like it's just it's a lot, you know, to really think about, because that dance, like, it just takes over everyone's life, you know. And if you're like, you know, studying and practicing like Judaism and stuff, like, I can't even imagine what type of you know, situation that would create, you know. um yeah, it's just a lot, you know, it's a lot to think about. And you know, God, he's been kind to me. I have to thank him for the little blessings and for the big blessings, you know. um I'm just a regular person, you know. It's just, this is what it is, and I don't really wish bad on anybody. I really don't. But yeah, even like the girls that I was with, the dance really affected them too, you know. Um, I mean, we would have like conversations about it, you know. Me and this girl Sonia, we would have like conversations about it, and like, it's just crazy, you know. Like, it's crazy to even think about that. Like, that was the type of conversation that I would have. And you know, I don't really talk, and I didn't really talk to a lot of girls, you know. Um, it was more like they just thought I was some way, and like, you know, I couldn't really say anything. But that Sonia girl, I could really talk to her about it, and like, man, I screwed that up too. You know, she thought when when I was out of West Point, it was like, what do I do now? And it was hard. Like I kind of, you know, like if SCAD wasn't there for me, I wouldn't have known what to do. You know. And Concordia, they were going through Ken Dory at the time, their coach, and like I had called them before I heard from Josh LA, at LWC to go out there. He was like, "Yeah, I think you'd like it there." But I had known of Concordia, and I called, and like they weren't really interested in like they kind of had a deal, kind of had a problem with that coach, and like people now they'll think like, well, Brock, he just stirred everything up everywhere he went, starting with OMM, and it's like I really didn't, and my dad didn't either. That's not fair to say, It was really some hardcore problems going on, that were deep issues everywhere that I went, WP included. And it's like no one's perfect, nothing can be perfect, but you have to fit the mold to survive in each of those places. And you have to have a mindset of I'm just here for this or this and nothing else, Like I just want to get my workout. I want to not try hard in practice and just, win my race, or I want to put everything into it. Or I don't care at all, and like whatever happens happens until I get kicked off the team, you know. And it's kind of like looking back, it's like maybe I shouldn't have been on the same team as my father, Maybe that screwed up my mindset a little bit, but that was nothing I could help, There was no other option. And why take away something that is a good bond, just to try to fit the mold of something? But and my parents were not helicopter parents. They weren't. But it came off that way because they worked at the school and because my dad was my coach, And it's like, what was I supposed to do? If I could have had it my way, I would have been just another person. But that's not what it was. That wasn't the plan, My friend Ford really went through it in high school in his senior year, and like I don't know, I just hope I was there for him enough, and I hope I didn't betray everything when I went to LWC with him, you know. But I told you he ended up going to UK and finished off, and for me it was like just go to the next place, and try to make it work. But when I went to California, I had the plan of staying there for the rest of my life. That was my plan. That was, honest to God, my plan. And it didn't matter about, okay, let's be an actor in Hollywood or something. It wasn't like that. It was more like, let's make it work out here. Like just doing something and going to the beach and like just doing something and having these relationships that were positive, and they were the first year. They were really positive the first year.